In the middle of a world obsessed with going electric, one man quietly built an engine that could destroy everything we thought we knew. No PR campaign, no countdown, just raw mechanical brilliance and a statement that's now haunting boardrooms across Tesla, Ford, and even Ferrari. While the rest of the world raced to plug in, Christian von Koenigsegg unplugged from the script and built something they said was impossible. So why is the EV industry panicking? What makes this one engine more terrifying than 1,000 Teslas? And how did a quiet Swedish inventor outplay the entire global auto market? Stick around, because this story doesn't end with horsepower. What's happening? Christian von Koenigsegg doesn't look like a disruptor. He doesn't speak in headlines. He rarely raises his voice. But behind that soft-spoken demeanor is a mind that has quietly haunted the world's most powerful car companies for over 2 decades. He's part inventor, part philosopher, and part madman. To him, engineering isn't a business function, it's a sacred act. When other automakers debate supplier contracts and platform reuse, Christian is sketching combustion chamber flow dynamics on napkins during lunch. When a conventional team takes 3 years to greenlight a production prototype, Koenigsegg's team is building carbon fiber layups in-house because no third-party supplier could match the precision Christian demands. Koenigsegg's engineering philosophy is rooted in total control, no outsourcing, no compromises. The engine's built in-house, the turbos are custom, and even the carbon fiber, yes, even that is crafted using proprietary techniques developed inside a small facility in Ängelholm, Sweden. Why? Because perfection isn't a goal, it's a prerequisite. Christian is obsessed with the power-to-weight ratio, not because it sells, but because it speaks to him. He's fascinated by thermodynamics, not just as a science, but as a language. And unlike his rivals, he doesn't see combustion as outdated tech, he sees it as unfinished business. The industry builds for scale. Koenigsegg builds to shatter expectations. The goal was never to sell 1 million units, it was to ask the questions no one else dared to ask. Like, do we even need camshafts? Or what happens if a car has no gearbox at all? It's no wonder Koenigsegg's early cars were dismissed as curiosities. The CC8S, the CCR, they were too radical, too different, too pure. But when the Gemera RS broke the world speed record in 2017, hitting 277.9 miles per hour, it wasn't just fast, it was a message. We didn't follow the rules, and we still won. Christian doesn't build cars, he builds systems. He doesn't care about market segments, he cares about thermodynamic efficiency, acoustic balance, and structural harmony. He once said, "We build fast cars because we can." But it wasn't ego, it was purpose. Because speed to Christian isn't recklessness, it's proof, and proof is what he built next. A proof of concept so insane no one believed it until they sat inside it. The car that shouldn't exist but does. The automotive world laughed when Koenigsegg announced the Gemera, a 4-seater hypercar with luggage space and cup holders. It sounded like satire until it didn't. Because the Gemera isn't a compromise, it's a dare. A 1,700 horsepower plug-in hybrid that accelerates like a missile but carries groceries like a family sedan. On paper, it's the most contradictory car Koenigsegg has ever built. In reality, it's a design masterpiece. The heart of the Gemera is the TFG, or Tiny Friendly Giant. A 2-liter 3-cylinder engine that uses free valve technology. No camshafts, no belts. Every valve is individually controlled by software, allowing the engine to switch breathing modes mid-drive. It can shut down cylinders, change timing profiles on the fly, and deliver 600 horsepower on its own. Pair that with 3 electric motors, 1 on each rear wheel and 1 on the crankshaft, 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, a combined output of up to 1,700 horsepower and a total range over 600 miles. But the numbers aren't what make the Gemera terrifying, it's the execution. The doors open like science fiction airlocks. The rear seats are actual bucket thrones. The cabin feels more like a minimalist Scandinavian lounge than a race-bred cockpit. It has wireless charging, USB ports, rear infotainment, and yes, actual cup holders. But here's the real trick. It doesn't drive like a boat. Despite its weight, the Gemera handles like a machine half its size. Active rear-wheel steering, torque vectoring, and carbon monocoque construction make it shockingly nimble. It drifts, it attacks corners, it dances. The Gemera was proof that Koenigsegg could blend madness with manners. A car for your family that could still annihilate a Bugatti. But nestled under its floor was a prototype system so advanced it didn't just challenge supercars, it threatened the entire EV model. And that system would arrive in the form of a motor no bigger than a suitcase. This isn't marketing, it's mechanics. Subscribe for the real story, the carry-on motor that shook the industry. When Koenigsegg revealed the dark matter electric motor, It didn't come with a parade. It wasn't live-streamed to millions. There was no dance routine or hologram, just a quiet press release, a few murmurs from engineers, and a blurry photo of what looked like an oddly shaped lunchbox. But inside that box, the future was hiding. At first glance, the numbers seemed impossible. One electric motor, not two, not three, just one. It produced 800 horsepower and 1,250 Nm of torque, all from a unit small enough to fit inside a carry-on bag. No gimmicks, no reduction gear trickery, no software hallucinations, just raw, silent, terrifying performance. Koenigsegg had rewritten the rules of electric propulsion, and they'd done it without telling anyone they were even in the game. Most manufacturers rely on traditional three-phase motors. They're bulky, hot, and require multiple units to manage torque vectoring and power distribution. Tesla built an empire using those assumptions: dual motors, inverter tuning, and brute force power delivery. But the dark matter motor didn't follow that blueprint, it threw it out the window. Instead, Koenigsegg developed a six-phase radial axial flux architecture. That mouthful of engineering jargon isn't just for show. It's a fundamental shift in how electric motors move energy. By combining both radial and axial flux designs, dark matter spreads the magnetic load more efficiently across a wider range of motion. That means less heat, more torque, and no wasted motion. In practical terms, it means this: Koenigsegg's motor doesn't lag, it doesn't fade, it doesn't overheat on back roads or bog down after a few launches. It delivers precise, relentless power whether you're idling through a city or detonating out of a corner at full throttle. And it does all of this with fewer parts, lower cooling needs, and tighter packaging. And what they unveiled next didn't just bend the rules, it lit them on fire. Why? They resurrected the monster V8. At a time when automakers were quietly phasing out combustion engines, Koenigsegg did the unthinkable. They brought the noise back, and not just any noise. The hot V8 wasn't a watered-down tribute or a retro vanity project. It was a fire-breathing 5.0-liter twin-turbocharged monster, capable of delivering over 1,500 horsepower from the engine alone. Paired with the dark matter electric motor, that number exploded to a mind-melting 2,300 horsepower. And yet, Koenigsegg didn't put it in a stripped-out hypercar, they put it in the Gemera, a car with 4 bucket seats, a family car with cup holders. To understand how shocking that was, you have to understand the era Koenigsegg was launching it into by the year 2025. The automotive world had gone silent, literally. Governments had ramped up zero-emission mandates, and most manufacturers were scrambling to deliver dull, software-heavy electric vehicles to meet compliance standards. The future was supposed to be quiet, smooth, and sensible. But Christian von Koenigsegg had other ideas. While everyone else embraced silence, he doubled down on sound, deep, raw, mechanical sound. Koenigsegg's message was simple: electric is fast, but this is alive. The hot V8 wasn't about emissions or range, it was about experience. Christian understood that driving isn't just a numbers game, it's emotional, it's visceral. It's about being part of something powerful and unpredictable. And in that moment, the hot V8 wasn't just an engine, it was a statement, a defiant roar in a world trying to mute everything mechanical. And when it did, the industry's cleanest myth was the first thing to fall apart, the dirty secret behind the clean energy dream. It was supposed to be the perfect solution: silent, sleek, zero-emission electric vehicles, a cleaner, greener future. But beneath the surface of that dream lay a truth too inconvenient to market. Christian von Koenigsegg had spent years watching the electric revolution gain momentum. He didn't oppose it, he just understood it better than most. And what he saw wasn't a utopia, it was a trade-off, a dangerous one. Because while electric vehicles reduce tailpipe emissions, the environmental cost of building them is staggering. Start with the batteries. The lithium, cobalt, and nickel needed to build high-capacity battery packs don't appear out of thin air. They come from massive open-pit mines, many in unstable regions, many using unethical labor. The extraction process destroys ecosystems, consumes millions of gallons of water, and leaves behind toxic waste. And that's before the batteries even reach the assembly line. Then there's the energy grid. In many countries, zero-emission EVs are still powered by coal-fired electricity. That means the environmental gains promised on paper aren't always realized in practice. Christian knew all of this, and while others turned away from the complexity, he embraced it because he believed a truly sustainable future had to be smarter, not just cleaner. That's why Koenigsegg never went all in on batteries. Instead, they explored alternative paths, synthetic fuels that can be produced using renewable energy, biofuels that are carbon neutral across their life cycle, ultra-lightweight composites that reduce vehicle mass and energy consumption. They even redesigned components to maximize recyclability and minimize resource waste. And so, when Christian finally decided to unveil Koenigsegg's next big move, it wasn't about hype or headlines. It was about shifting the entire conversation. And the moment he made that decision, the industry split down the middle. The decision that split the industry in two wasn't announced on stage. It wasn't leaked through influencers. It came in a private meeting, small, focused, and final. Christian von Koenigsegg sat down with his engineering team in early 2025. After months of cryptic silence, testing, and quiet experimentation, he leaned forward and said the words that would ripple through the automotive world. "I've made my decision. We're building a new engine from scratch, not a retrofit, not a scaled-down V8, a completely new combustion platform, lightweight, compact, quad-turbocharged, and fully designed to run on synthetic e-fuel." It was an act of defiance, but also one of pure logic. Christian didn't see it as turning away from the future. He saw it as fixing what others got wrong. While the rest of the industry viewed combustion as a relic, Koenigsegg viewed it as unfinished business. The engine they outlined was high-revving and ultra-responsive. Short-stroke design, a valve system with no camshafts, operating entirely through software. It was thermally efficient, brutally powerful, and surprisingly clean. On synthetic fuels, it could deliver near zero emissions without the weight, complexity, and energy loss of battery packs. To Christian, this wasn't a protest. It was a pivot, a rational, precision-guided response to a future being built on shaky assumptions. The combustion engine wasn't outdated, it had simply been neglected. Koenigsegg intended to change that. But this wasn't just about building a better engine. While the rest of the industry was still building calculators, Koenigsegg was composing poetry. And if you're wondering why no one else can follow that path, well, they can't, and here's why. If you were to walk into Koenigsegg's headquarters in Ängelholm, Sweden, you would not see a production line. You would see an invention lab masquerading as a car company. That is not branding, it is literal. They build their own carbon fiber. They 3D print their own titanium. They design engines not with supplier catalogs but with curiosity and chalkboards. Koenigsegg's team doesn't work from parts. They work from first principles. That is why their vehicles behave so differently. Their carbon monocoques are stiffer, lighter, and safer than anything built on outsourced platforms. Thank you for watching. If you found this content insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.